Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Experience. I'm here with my favorite Ghostbuster, Jeremy.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. Hey, so you were recently in a parade, huh? As a Ghostbuster.
Yes, the Thanksgiving Day parade downtown on State Street. We marched up State Street. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like fun. Like in the outfit with your fellow Ghostbusters, seemed like a good time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as the audience can see, we are in our DC Comics T-shirts. I am the Man of Steel.
I am the Green Lantern.
Okay, and the reason we're wearing these shirts, these outfits, is because we are discussing the state of the DCU, DC Comics Cinematic Universe. Some news that I'm a little bit disappointed of is that some cancellations going on. It sounds like they're trying to reboot the universe. Okay, Black Adam.
Adam 2.
Being canceled.
Wonder Woman 3.
Right.
Aquaman 2 is still a go.
And Man of Steel
Man of
2,
Steel 2.
might possibly be canceled. So I don't know what the plan is like with exactly with the DCU, but I gotta say I was a bit dissatisfied with the way that we're trying to bring a universe together,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like they tried to do it so quick. I mean, what do you think? Like,
Too quick to catch up to the competition. Would have been nice to see more thought out ideas, fleshed out movies as far as the main characters with Batman, Superman, and all that. I am happy to see other movies still go. Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, looking forward to those movies. Would have looked forward to another Man of Steel, but I know James Gunn, who is the one who is in charge now, has different ideas. I'm eager to see what they are. I hear Kingdom Come might be part of that. It'd just be nice to see and what the plan is with that, as far as what they're going to do with any possible Batman sequels for The Batman, the 3-hour length The Batman.
Right.
And obviously, Man of Steel. It'd be nice to see that.
Right. I guess we could just put our trust in James Gunn for what he's attempting to do. Now that I think of it, I don't think I was really that impressed with the DC universe. I thought it was, what word should I use? It's kind of goofy with the way they were trying to get them all together. That's the only thing maybe the word I could think of.
I had my issues with Batman v Superman. I enjoyed Justice League a lot more than some of the other movies. I thought Ben Affleck as Batman, great choice. Would have liked to see more. They had plans with that after Justice League to do more with an Injustice League, but that obviously never happened, and more with Lex Luthor. James Gunn had great success with the Guardians movies, Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel. So I trust in his vision. However, he's taking something that had various levels of success and trying to polish it and make it hopefully better. But there's a lot of news coming down the pipeline. A lot of news coming that we haven't seen yet. So I'm eager to see that news.
Right, and if he needs to scrap what the current universe is to have his sort of vision of what he wants the DC cinematic universe to look like, okay. Now, like you said before, there's some good aspects about it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the direction of the way Wonder Woman was going. I thought Aquaman, his individual film, was all right.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wasn't that crazy about Justice League, but the Snyder cut was great. But it had to be 5 hours to get that amount of story. It was because of the amount of details, the way they had Darkseid in it as well, and some other reasons. Now, it being a 5-hour movie, maybe they could have figured out a way to make it into 2 parts. The way like they had like Infinity War and Endgame with the amount of story that they had. but it's already been done. They already made that 5-hour Snyder cut and put it on HBO Max.
And they could do more with the other movies as well. We saw Black Adam, and I think we enjoyed that movie. Did you enjoy that movie?
I give it, okay, I'll say it was 3 out of 5 at the most stars.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy about the characters. I felt like I couldn't connect. I felt like I couldn't connect with them. I felt like they weren't that developed. We get to see Hawkman, but unless like you pick up of a comic and get an idea of who he is, it's all of a sudden like we're just being introduced like him and a handful of other superheroes, Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate.
Right? And the
Atom Smasher.
Right.
And a couple other characters too, which I can't think of their names, which kind of shows that unfortunately some of those characters were not as memorable. That's not a slam against Black Adam. I enjoyed the movie. I might give it a 3.5 out of 5 if we're going on the 5 scale. Simply because of getting to see Justice Society characters on the big screen. I enjoyed Black Adam himself. I think there wasn't enough time spent on Justice Society. But it's Black Adam's movie, not the Justice Society's. But I like Dr. Fate in that movie. Pierce Brosnan did a fantastic job with the character. I liked Hawkman. I wanted to see more Hawkman, but that's a different story for another time. Now, they could do more with Black Adam in terms of developing the overall universe, like the end scenes have done with Marvel movies. And I think that might be where the new Flash movie, if that comes out, could do something. They could do a kind of a Flashpoint, which was a comic book story where they revamped the DC universe of comics. They could do something like that with the movie universe and have the Robert Pattinson Batman be the Batman. Still have Henry Cavill be Superman, but there's all kinds of different ways you could go with that.
It could go in that direction. Now, in terms of timeline, the Robert Pattinson's Batman is a very young Batman. From what I recall, is that he's only 2 years in his career, and him and Commissioner Gordon still just getting to know each other, and but going back to Black Adam, there was a post-credit scene, and because of things being rebooted with the universe, that might be irrelevant now, which I'm disappointed by, because I wanted to see those two go at it, maybe.
It would be nice to see a live-action version of Black Adam versus Superman, and that brought back Henry Cavill as Superman. And all that news came out about Man of Steel 2. Is that going to happen? I hope something like that happens, and I hope Henry Cavill is in the role, because I think he was a good Man of Steel that needed more time to be Superman. I'm fine with Robert Pattinson being Batman. I'm fine with Ben Affleck being Batman. That's what the Flash movie would hopefully deliver, is the multiple versions of Batman, namely the Michael Keaton version. Are we going to get to see that? I know Ezra Miller has some issues right now in the news. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but it's a little scary what could happen with this movie.
Right. He's out of control, Ezra Miller. And I think I've read online that people are saying, like, let's have the Flash from the TV show be the Flash. Hey, we might as well now. Like, if Ezra Miller can't stay out of trouble, he'd be ruining things with his behavior.
Especially in any kind of press junkets that's done with him speaking out about the role.
Right.
That may not be the best for him. They.
Right.
I know he goes under a different pronoun.
Right, different pronoun as the, right?
Yes.
I thought it was confusing when I was reading that online. And I thought, was this a typo? But no, it's a pronoun.
Yes.
But, okay, I'll just call him what he wants to be called.
Yes.
He wants to be identified
be
as
respectful.
The. Okay, the, you're the. Okay. Um, Now, this is what James Gunn has addressed, that they're making Superman a priority. So I think that's good news because
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, love Batman, can't get enough of Batman, uh, and Gotham City and all the villains in it. But I think it's time for Superman to make a comeback. It's been a while since he had a solo film since Man of Steel, and I just wasn't impressed with Batman versus Superman. So yeah, I'd like to see another Superman project, and with Kingdom Come possibly coming, uh, and that having like a lot of characters.
And that could have a possible meeting of Shazam and Superman, which is one of the main points of that story of Kingdom Come. Going back to Black Adam, it would be nice to see a Black Adam and Superman matchup. Unfortunately, right now, as of now, the only real matchup between them in any kind of medium outside of comics has been in that Black Adam Superman 30-minute animated special that was done. That was on DVD. It had them fighting along with Shazam, who at that time was still Captain Marvel. Would be nice to see that. I'm hoping for that.
Right. And I wonder what's going to happen with the Suicide Squad, because I thought they were just a great ragtag of a team. A team of like these anti-heroes, former villains, or that's what they want to call them. I thought that was pretty good. So I wonder how if they'll even do another Suicide Squad movie. But speaking of the Suicide Squad, there's that Suicide Squad game that's coming out, and rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. It was his last voice acting as Batman.
And what a great tribute. There's a tribute online to him. I think it was a trailer of the game,
Yes.
was it? And the movies, the second one anyway, that was James Gunn. So I can't imagine he'll scrap that because the second movie was his baby. So I imagine he'd want to continue what he's done with the Suicide Squad.
Right. So I guess I could be glad that I'd imagine like James Gunn is probably thinking, let's get a universe done right, and not have to feel pressure to rush ourselves to try to catch up with the competition. We go ahead and say it's Marvel.
It's Marvel.
MCU.
It's Marvel.
Yeah, and I don't think DC. If only DC just took their time and not have to worry so much about having to have a bunch of characters all together in a universe, because this is what they dug themselves a hole in, is that you've just brought us a bunch of these characters where we're not given enough of a backstory of them, and they're all just to get together. And like, of course, if you're a comic book aficionado, of course we would know some things about them, but to the general audience, who are some of these guys? Like, and why are they together? Like, what was their backstory?
And the only one really that anybody knows anything about is Harley Quinn.
Right.
Now, I appreciate what DC has been doing. They've been doing their own thing with movies like The Suicide Squad, Joker, and The Batman. Just be nice to see something else.
Right.
Building upon their universe. I think I read that there's still a Blue Beetle movie in the works.
Right, and it's gonna
Hopefully that'll hit.
Played by Zola. I cannot pronounce his last name right now, but he stars in Cobra Kai.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, him.
That'll be exciting. I think I did see something with him in a costume, or just in some kind of costume. Maybe not the Blue Beetle costume, but some kind of costume.
Now I'm beginning to think maybe could that Black Beetle movie be the last movie in the current DC cinematic universe? That's my guess. Or will it be a standalone, like the Batman movies right now?
This we'll see more as time goes on. I know James Gunn does have a plan developing. It'll be nice to see what that plan is. Now, as of right now, my DC fix has been the TV shows. I know Flash is ending pretty soon. The TV show Flash with Grant Gustin, that's ending. Superman and Lois is a phenomenal show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Stargirl is ending. The other shows have ended, so I think the Arrowverse as a whole has pretty much ended. The crossover concept and the plans for any crossover unfortunately have ended after Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I'm happy we got Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that's the mother of all comic book crossovers. And we got it on screen, live action, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
That was a treat to be able to get those characters together. But I guess all we can do is like stay tuned. It's James Gunn that's in charge now, so. But I will say this though, it takes a lot of work to have a bunch of characters in a shared universe, because then you have like certain plots with like those individual movies, and then you have to figure out how they're gonna have some other characters make cameos, and the whole timeline of the chronological order of each movie. So there's a lot of work that moving parts and making it in a shared universe. So
a lot to balance.
Right.
It's a lot to manage.
And if I can imagine that the writers like over at Warner Brothers, right, that they're pulling out their hair, or like they're that they're thinking about Marvel, and then they're writing on a chalkboard or some board about how we're gonna bring this all together, and then ended up being this big somewhat of a mess.
That's why they're better off doing their own thing and not trying to copy the Marvel way, because Marvel has had success, great success. And copying that, other film companies have tried to do that.
Right.
And they haven't been able to do it.
Right.
So best to not compete with them and just do your own thing.
You know, I imagine back in the 90s, or maybe a little earlier, we could have had some characters in a shared universe. Maybe we could have had Christopher Reeve's Batman and Christopher Reeve's Superman, I'm sorry, and Michael Keaton's Batman in a movie together. Right, and even though like Wonder Woman at that time like went up in age, Linda Carter. I know back in the late 80s, early 90s, maybe she could have still pulled off Wonder Woman. I mean, her physique right now, last I seen, could at least back then, I think was not. She was still in fairly good shape back then, I imagine.
She could be either an older Wonder Woman or a Hippolyta now.
Right.
She made a cameo in the second Wonder Woman movie.
Right.
So she could be in there somewhere. But it's up to James Gunn how he wants to do that.
Right, and I think if I recall that, but like the Tim Burton Batman movies were under Warner Brothers, and I think wasn't Superman with Christopher Reeve Superman movies, weren't they under Warner Brothers too?
Yeah, that was all Warner Brothers. Yes.
They had that's what I don't get, is that all those DC characters were under Warner Brothers. Did it even cross their mind to have a Justice League movie back then, or have any of them together, or they didn't have enough? Could they not afford to have all that star power on screen? That's the only thing that I can think of, is that they couldn't afford to have everybody, those big names, all on one screen together.
And everything was just so disparate at that time in the late 80s, 90s, when all those movies were happening, that it was an impossibility for those franchises to meet. The Superman franchises, Batman, all that stuff. It was impossible at that time. Now, people understand what a shared universe is, so it can be possible. And it kind of was possible going back to Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
There's a lot of references to classic movie franchises like Superman, Batman, and even Teen Titans. So a lot is possible now. And I think the upcoming Flash movie could be the catalyst for a lot of shared universe possibilities and more spin-off options.
Right. That's the beauty of I guess what you call them, these multiverse, where you could have a reason to have different versions of characters and the different kinds of crossovers.
It's possible.
Yep. It's easier to be creative with that. Yep. But this is Bobby with the Bobby Experience. Jeremy, thanks for sharing like your enthusiasm.
My pleasure. Happy to be here again.
Being a fellow comic book aficionado, and we'll see you in the next video.
Take care.
Peace.
Quick
Take care.
update. So not only is Henry Cavill not coming back, Dwayne Johnson is not coming back either, at least not for the first phase of the new DC Cinematic Universe, and James Gunn is taking heat. Well, this concludes, once again, another episode of the Bobby Experience. Guess we gotta stay tuned, see what's gonna go on with this DCU. All right, take care.